Trigger warning: infidelity, marital issues, divorce, and custody. I caught my wife, who was 13 years old, cheating with a co-worker. Just here to get straight to the point. My wife and I have been married since we were 25. We are 38 now. We met in college, got married, and everything has been great. We both graduated, got good jobs, and started our lives together. Me and my wife both made good money, so money was never an issue for us. My wife worked for her dad's small business, while I worked for a very large company. After a few years, my boss left the company out of nowhere, and they needed someone to take over. The only person who knew how to run the department was me. So, I got a major pay jump, a better bonus, and better benefits. The works. So, at 28 I was making probably 3x plus more than my wife. At 28, the same year, my wife gave birth to our first daughter. Then, 2 years later, our second, my wife, due to working for her father, was able to be more diverse in her work. Well, around 5 years ago, my father-in-law passed away unexpectedly. That left my mother-in-law and wife in a hard position. Sell the company or run it themselves. My mother-in-law had no clue how to run it, so my wife said she would do it. After my wife took over the company, it did just as well as when her father ran it. With that being said, my wife got a huge pay increase, more than me. I was proud of her. Going from a basic worker to running a whole company isn't easy. Anyway, our daughters started suffering from not seeing their parents. Me and my wife discussed one of us staying home. She said, "The company you work for will be fine without you. Mine could go under." I agreed, so I quit my job and became a stay-at-home dad or husband. I do everything. I make sure the girls are all taken care of. I cook, clean, fix things, make sure errands are run, you name it. I pamper my wife when she gets home from work. This went well for a while until about a year ago. My wife was always very appreciative of what I did and loved it. She has become very mean lately. Like just saying things like, "Do you do anything, or how about you work for real?" What? I work my arse every day, making sure you don't have to lift a finger when you get home at all. Also, I had a real job. But I quit to raise and take care of the girls, our home, and you. Not to mention, my wife is very sexual. Always has been. She quit initiating sex, and when I ask, she is never in the mood. That was very odd. Eventually, I quit trying. I just thought, with all the pandemic crap and everything else, she was just very stressed, and it was getting to her. I started trying harder to make her happy. Nothing ever worked. Last weekend, my oldest had a softball game. So, I get everything ready, and we go. During the game, I wanted to take a video for my mom and dad since they live in another state and don't get to see my daughters that often. I forgot my phone, so I asked my wife if I could see hers. She had been attached to it all day, so it would be good for her to get off it. Anyway, she hands it to me and says she is going to get a drink and a snack. She gets up. I video my daughter when a message comes up on some app. I check, and I can't even fathom what I see. My wife and this guy from her work, who is 8 years younger, are sexting and sending videos and pictures, talking about how great the sex was, and then me. He is saying that I am some wimp who can't get a real job taking care of his women, and my wife agrees with him. I couldn't believe this SHT I saw. I was so devastated and angry at the same time. I heard my wife coming back, so I closed the app and started videoing. On the ride home and when we get home, my wife tries to talk to me, and I am not in the mood. Eventually, we lay in bed and, for the first time, I guess they hadn't met in a while, tried to have sex. I tell her I am not in a mood. She says, "If you are going to be a bee about everything, you can sleep on the couch." I got up and went to the couch, and I have been here since. I don't know how to move forward with this. I really just don't know where to start. My wife was my everything. My girls are my world, and all of that is ending. Any advice would be wonderful, as I really need it. TLDR. My wife and I met in college and got married. Her dad unalived, and she took over the family business. I became a stay-at-home dad, and she is cheating on me. Edit: I should have mentioned that I did send screenshots of the conversation to my phones. I do have the evidence. Update. Hey everyone, I want to thank you all for the advice you all gave. First off, I do have the text, pictures, videos, and everything. Second, I don't know any of the companies. It is 50/50 between her and my mother-in-law. Third, I can't sleep in bed. I have been sleeping in the guest bedroom every night, and that is where I will be staying. To answer, I have decided to divorce her. Anyway, this morning I called a firm in another town to avoid anyone finding out. Thankfully, we were able to get me in this morning as someone had canceled. After dropping off my girls, I drove over there. To make a long story short, he is a very good lawyer. I showed him what I had. He said that, luckily for me, with the evidence I have, she will be pretty much screwed in the divorce. Seeing as I quit my job to raise our girls, she is never home. she is having an affair, and she prioritizes this man over me and my girls. She will lose very easily. He basically said we will get child support and alimony. I will keep the house, and we will have to pay for it as long as my girls live there. Also, he stated that we could even try for more money since I am considered no longer viable in the working world to help me pay for more education to get a job. Some of you were right. He said to not work until after the divorce is over. He said since you are the husband, if you have a job, you can lose a lot of this. He asked if I wanted full custody. I said that I don't mind my wife seeing her girls on the weekends every once in a while, but I would rather have mostly full custody. He said that since she had an affair in the marital home, I can basically do what I want. Since he stated that bringing a strange man over to the house put the girls in danger and made her guilty, I will be going for full custody, where she can get weekends once, maybe twice a month. No man will be allowed around my girls, and if there are, she could face problems with me if I find out. I just don't want that posse around my girls. He eventually said to keep quiet until the draft was ready, and then he would issue someone to serve her and have it issued that she was required to leave the home. He said he should have it done sometime next week. He asked me to just keep quiet. He said, I know it is hard and you are upset, but just shut the hell up until everything is done. Once the divorce is over, you can say whatever the hell you want about her, but until then, keep your mouth shut. He said to act as normal. He said no fights, no issues, sleep in a separate bed, and no sex. I said no problem, but why? He said, trust me, just don't do it and do as I say. I just got home and have started getting ready for dinner, acting, and being normal. I will be acting as if everything is okay until she is served next week. As I can only make 2 updates, yes, I actually read the rules. Any more will be on my page if anyone cares. Thank you all for the advice and some very harsh words. And to the one guy who asked for my wife's no-cloth pics, just know. It seems all you have to do is ask her, and she will send them, so it isn't as hard as it appears. Quick edit, he recommended I get an STD test, plus a DNA test on my girls. When I asked why, he said, it is pretty rare that incidents like this are the first time they have happened. So, yeah, that effing hurt to be here and scared the hell out of me. Update 2. Hey everyone, I just want to thank all who sent me good messages over this period. I have been feeling down, and things have been rough. To preface, I have talked to my lawyer about these posts. I didn't go into too much detail. They did tell me, though, that as long as I keep them brief and not super specific, I can post, but I just have to be careful about what I put on to not lead to too many details. That is that. So, for a quick update, like I said, it will be brief and not too specific for legal reason. We will start with the test. I was able to get an STD on myself and a paternity test on my girls. I found out that, thankfully, I have no disease and am clear. Since I have been pretty much sex-less with her for the last year, I wasn't all that surprised. Now for the one that I am sure most of you are wondering. The test was on my 2 girls. Am I the dad? I will always be their dad, regardless of the results. However, I am here to say that, yes, I am their biological father. I have never been so happy to know that I am their dad. I never thought I would have to question it, but here we are. As for what has happened with STBX, well, she is out of the house, and I have been granted full temporary custody. In the future, which may take a while, I will go into more specific details. However, for now, she is out of the house. My lawyer set everything up for me to get my girls and make sure that we legally handled her being removed from the home. It wasn't pretty, but details are for another time. She was served at work, and from what I know, it wasn't pretty. Like I said, details for another time. My girls know what is going on. My oldest knows we are separating, and one of her friend's parents split for the same reason. She has seen what happened with her friend and doesn't want us to split. She has been crying for me to let mommy come home. I will be getting them in with a child therapist to explain and help them understand, with the direction of my lawyer. My youngest just wants mommy to come home and misses her. It ending me and makes me feel like a terrible father, and they probably hate me now. Sometimes I think I should just let their mother cheat on me to keep the family unit and make my girls happy. I just can't do that. Sometimes I think about talking about allowing an open relationship, and we can just wait till the girls are older, but that won't work for me. Plus, I know the girls will pick up on it and will not like it that mommy and daddy don't love each other. As for my ex, she is living with her mother at this point. My mother-in-law has called me and asked to meet. I agreed, and we will meet at some point. She didn't ask for details, as she said we would talk later, but she begged me not to take her granddaughters away from her. I said you are a great and loving grandmother, and as long as you can separate my girls from what is going on between your daughter and me, I see no issue with you being able to see them, and I will not take them out of your life. She thanked me, and that was it. My ex has been trying to call me and text me, trying to figure out us. Under the direction of my lawyer, he has had it set up so that I can talk to her through a trackable method. And it is purely about the girls. No more, no less. So, that is it for now. I will probably keep updating. And once this is all over, I will make one big update for all the details I have to be careful about as of now. Thank you. Update 3. Hey everyone, I thought I would give everyone a small update on some stuff that has happened. So first off, I had Thanksgiving with my STBX and MIL. I did this purely for the girls and made sure with my lawyer that this was only about the girls and not about reconciliation. That was taken care of. First, I met with my MIL pre-Thanksgiving. We met and had a pretty mutual discussion. Mostly just things about how we will handle my daughters after. My mother-in-law did tell me some stuff about my STBX. I guess my STBX was cheated on by her high school boyfriend. I didn't even know she dated anyone. I guess this guy came from one of those family, according to my MIL, and they told her to avoid him. Well, I guess one night she caught him with his head under another girl's dress and his tongue deep in a girl's jewelry box. My mother couldn't believe she would do this. She had a couple boyfriends they met in college, but she knew they wouldn't last. She said that as soon as she met me, she found her son-in-law. She says she is so sorry for her daughter's actions and will make sure that she doesn't try to do anything problematic with the divorce. Anyway, a couple days before Thanksgiving, my MIL asked for me to come over for dinner with the girls. I said, will she be there? She said yes. I said I couldn't be with her there. She said she understood but asked if we could put on the holiday one more time for the girls. She said, I know you have a lawyer. Ask them, and if they say it is a bad idea, I get it. I did, and they said to tell your wife via the app that this is purely for the girls to avoid any confusion. So, I did. She had contacted me before about coming over. She has been begging me to see me and the girls. The girls have been begging me to see their mom. I swallowed my pride for my girls, and we went. It was awkward. My STBX gave our daughters a hug, fine, then tried to hug and kiss me. I just avoided her and went to give my mother-in-law a hug. My STBX tried to act like a husband and wife and was trying to talk to me. I answered with yes and no's and helped my MIL finish dinner and clean up. My mother-in-law is religious and wanted to do a prayer, and my STBX sat next to me. I held my daughter's hand. My wife tried to grab mine, but I pulled away. I know it may seem petty, but I don't want her touching me. I am an atheist, but out of respect for my MIL, I go along with it. Dinner was fine. Again, STBX is trying to act like we are going to be married and asking about Christmas and vacations, which I guess she wants to take with us as a family. When she mentioned this stuff, I knew going over it was a mistake. We finished dinner, and I pretty much got up, cleaned my daughter's dishes, and was ready to go. My daughters wanted to watch a movie with their mother, whom we always watch. I let them, and my STBX tried to cuddle next to me on the couch. I sat in the chair after that. My mother-in-law was very mad at my STBX the whole night for how she acted. I could tell by the looks she gave her. The movie ended, and we started to leave. My daughter fell asleep, so I carried them to the car. I went in to grab something, and my STBX grabbed me in tears, begging to work on things and saying that she wants to be a family and is so sorry for what happened. Before I could say anything, my MIL grabbed her by the hair, not joking, yanked her, told me goodnight, and began yelling at her daughter. So, yeah. I told my lawyer everything and said nothing indicated reconciliation, and you made that clear in your messages. You are fine. The wife is once again calling and begging to work on us. She gets left on hold. I will only talk about the girls, and I am sure they are going to want to do the same for Christmas. I don't know if I can or if it is okay. Once again, I will discuss this with my lawyer. Update 4. This will not be long, but things have gotten very bad for my girls. Basically, my girls had 2 sessions this week with their therapist. The first one was good. My girls came out with what seemed to be more peace and calm than usual. I talked to the therapist after, and she seemed to be very good and understood my girls well. So, I took them to their second one, and SHT is completely F-ed. Basically, the therapist explained, in age-appropriate terms, that the reason me and their mother are separating is that their mother cheated, had an affair, and betrayed me. I knew eventually she would, but I didn't think it would happen this soon. I went to get my girls, and basically it was a burst of tears and them climbing all over me and giving me hugs and crying, saying they loved me. I am happy they love me, but this is not what I wanted to happen with my girls. I asked the therapist why she told them. She said the girls knew you two were separating, and the girls noticed you seemed to be really mean and unloving with their mother. Your girls aren't stupid, she told me. They know who you are and how you treat their mom. They wanted to know why you were separating. I tried to walk around it the best I could, she said, but the girls are not going to progress in therapy if we don't tell them. I am not going to go into detail on what exactly she said to them, but it was age appropriate. but they know the age-appropriate version of their mother being unfaithful. I think my oldest could maybe handle this and be okay, but not my youngest. So, we get home, and my girls won't let go of me. They are literally crying the whole night, so I order food, I put in their favorite movies in my bedroom, and we lay there all night. They fell asleep, and I went to the bathroom and just cried. My SDBX doesn't even realize the pain she is causing our girls. I don't know how I am going to deal with this. The therapist told me we could try medication for a bit until they get used to the new normal. I refused to do so, which she supported and said was just an option, as I am not drugging them. Disclaimer, she cannot give the drugs. She said they would need to see their primary care, and they would probably diagnose my girls with something that would allow them to medicate them. I would rather deal with my daughter's emotions in a healthy way. I won't have to worry about Christmas, as my daughters hate their mother now. How do I know? My oldest said she never wanted to see her mom again. My youngest follows what her older sister says, even though she may actually agree. I was shocked. I said, "You don't hate her, you may be mad, but you don't hate her. She loves and cares about you." My oldest just said no, she doesn't, and then just cried into my arms until she fell asleep, and so did my youngest. So, this is my life now. The AP update. Hey everyone, sorry for the name. I am sure it sounds like a really bad sequel, but I wanted to be clear about what this update is about. Just clear up real fast, though. The girls are doing better. They are still going to the same therapist, but they are doing better. Kind of coming to the realization. My daughters say they don't hate their mother anymore. However, they have made it very clear that they do not want to see her for a long time. Their words are not mine. We will see how that goes. My wife has been made aware of their knowledge. She tried calling my girls. They answered, but my wife has since been a bit more respectful of mine and my girls' boundaries. I think the realization is starting to hit her. Anyway, to the AP, I already knew he was a poser, but this man is awful. So, someone asked if there was an ops. I didn't know. I started looking through some stuff for my wife's work. I was able to find a piece of paper with all the employee numbers and emergency contacts. I called him. It was his wife. It turns out he is married. I didn't think he was. Also, he has a toddler. Well, I told his wife, and she didn't believe me and hung up. A little later, she calls me back and asks to meet. I met her. I show her everything. She asks if we can go to my car. We do. Within a second of closing a door, she burst into tears, crying, saying, "How could he do this to me? What did I do wrong?" etc. Well, I said you did nothing wrong and gave her my lawyer's number. After that, she asked how long, and I said I think a year, maybe a tad longer. She then goes from being upset to freaking pissed. I asked her why. She proceeded to rip her hair off. It was a wig. Tell me she just beat cancer. I guess after their child was born, they found some stuff odd while she was in the hospital. They found a tumor. So over the last year and a half, she had 2 surgeries, went through chemotherapy, and was on medication. She looked very good, so I was surprised. She said she beat, and she is better. But they haven't had sex in like 2 years. She said that between my pregnancy and cancer, I couldn't. She got really sick while pregnant. Then her cancer almost unalived her. Once she started feeling a bit better, she felt horrible about herself. She started gaining weight from the meds, lost her hair, and wasn't as pretty as she used to be. She said, I was now at the point where she could have sex and was going to surprise him here soon for being a caring, loving husband. That is off the table. She started crying about her child growing up in a broken home, and I consoled her. She then tried to have sex with me, but I said no, you are not in the right state of mind, and this is not healthy. She thanked me for my honesty. Then I proceeded to ask for the evidence. I gave it to her, and she went home. We have texted a couple times since we are both BS, so we will keep in contact. So, thank you to the few people who mentioned looking for the ops. I didn't even think about it. Thank you for watching the video.